Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1893B, and today's date is June 15th, 2019, and the title of the episode is, Boom, Did You Catch What Happened? There Are No Coincidences. Now, before I get started, I wanted to talk about VPNs. The Department of Homeland Security has officially come out and said foreign-based VPNs can pose a security risk to the United States government. The reasons given were based on the fact that even though foreign VPNs can elude US and UK law, the worry is that foreign governments such as China and Russia could strong-arm a local VPN company to hand over its user data with no issue at all. This move would expose tons of United States citizens' personal data and browsing history, creating a huge national risk. This is why when using a VPN, it's good to use a company such as Virtual Shield to take advantage of its no-log policy. Virtual Shield is located in the United States, which respects user data laws but does not log its users' browser's history. This is a key factor in why I use Virtual Shield VPN, because I know that my browsing history is not kept or logged on their servers. This month, Virtual Shield is offering a Father's Day celebration special of 20% off all VPN plans and all premium add-ons, including Protection Plus, residential access, monthly maintenance, phone support, and VIP performance plans for as low as $3 per month. Sign up for a free 30-day trial by clicking the link below. Let's get into the economic collapse, political and geopolitical news. Now, the Patriots and their plan to bring down the deep state, to drain the swamp, it is working perfectly. And I realized something when I was passing by a television which was broadcasting CNN, and I was realizing exactly what the Patriots actually did. And it just hit me out of the blue. And it's unbelievable how their entire plan, which they've been planning for a very long time, how it is all completely planned out perfectly to get certain results. And there are no coincidences. And yes, we talked about how Trump was out there and he was pushing the plan to get the politicians, the mainstream media, to talk about how getting information from a foreign government is absolutely illegal. But he went, not just him, but the Patriots went one step further. And it was brilliant on their part. And we're going to be talking about that in just a minute. But first, I wanted to talk about how the deep state, how they're trying to create chaos and make it seem like the administration, Trump's administration, well, they're doing illegal things. And they're continually doing this. And this is with KellyAnne Conway, where we had the U.S. Office of Special Counsel said in a report that KellyAnne Conway has repeatedly violated the Hatch Act and recommended her removal from federal service. So what is the Hatch Act? What does it do? Well, it bars federal employees from engaging in political activity. Now, Trump already, he came out and said, I'm not going to fire her. I think she's a terrific person. She's a tremendous spokesperson. He said, it looks to me like they're trying to take away her right of free speech. Now, in May of 2019, during a media interview, when asked about the Hatch Act, KellyAnne Conway said, if you're trying to silence me through the Hatch Act, it's not going to work. Let me know when the jail sentence starts. Now, what's very interesting, we know that former FBI Director Andrew McCabe, he violated the Hatch Act without fear of reprisal. And we're going to be talking about others who also violated the Hatch Act, and nothing really happened to them. So, who is bringing these charges? That's the question. Who is pushing this? Henry Kerner. And the question is, who is Henry Kerner? Henry Kerner is a deep state fixer who is good friends with late Senator John McCain and a staunch anti-Trump neoconservative lawmaker. Kerner called KellyAnne Conway's behavior unprecedented, despite the numerous Hatch Act violations against other members of previous presidential administrations, including the Obama administration, whose officials, Julian Castro and Kathleen Sebelius, both escaped firing for their Hatch Act controversies. The Office of Special Counsel even confirmed that Sebelius violated the Hatch Act by pushing for Obama's 2012 presidential campaign at North Carolina event. But guess what? She continued, and she was never fired. So Henry Kerner is now coming under scrutiny from his past. And the conservative Treehouse reported on Kerner's role as a fixer in 2018. Yesterday, it was revealed that Henry Kerner, as a former McCain senior staff official, was part of a bipartisan D.C. team who constructed the IRS weaponization program to target the Tea Party. That's bad enough. However, a little more digging. You're not going to believe this. The same guy who was attached to the prior investigations is now in charge of all D.C. corruption and whistleblowing cases, including the current FBI and Department of Justice corruption. Henry Kerner is special counsel in charge of all whistleblowing, witnesses in cases of government corruption. Henry Kerner controls the events as the lead official, the special counsel in charge of the Office of Special Counsel, and he is in the position to manipulate, control any investigative outcome. Starting to put the pieces together here, and we're starting to paint this picture of what they're trying to do here, who controls what, and it always comes back to the same players of the deep state. And they're trying to create chaos to show that Trump's administration, they're doing things illegally. But once again, it's going to fail. Now, very interestingly, with Julian Assange, we know the UK officials, they signed off on having the extradition move forward. And we understand that the court would be looking at this, which they already did. And it looks like they have set the full hearing sometime after February 24th of 2020. Now, this actually fits into the plan of the Patriots, because I do believe when all this information comes out, they're going to need Julian Assange back here in this country. And I do believe it's going to be in the year of 2020. And I think this is when they're going to extradite him back to the United States, because there are going to be other things happening before we get to the investigations with the emails and things like that. So I do believe the Patriots have planned this perfectly. Now, Elijah Cummings, he is being investigated right now with his wife. And we know that he is working with Nadler and Schiff and others to try to bring down Trump. This has been their main mission from the beginning. We know that they're panicking right now. And we know that there's no impeachment case whatsoever. But what's very interesting about Elijah Cummings, he was once a big defender of executive privilege. Of course, that is until President Trump was elected. Cummings, who voted on Wednesday to have Attorney General William Barr and Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross in contempt of Congress, is a complete 180 from what he previously did with the use of executive privilege during the Obama administration. This is what Cummings said on Wednesday. For months, the Trump administration has claimed that the decision to add the citizenship question was made at the department level rather than the White House. But now the president is asserting executive privilege over all of these documents. This begs the question, what is being hidden? Well, for Cummings, it appears that what is being hidden only matters selectively. He didn't seem to mind when the Obama administration used its executive authority to not turn over documents in the Fast and Furious operation that led to the death of a U.S. Border Patrol agent. When it comes to the Republican investigation into what actually happened in the Obama administration's botched Fast and Furious operation, Cummings was adamant that executive privilege was necessary to protect documents and administration officials. Cummings praised Holder in 2012 when he battled Congress and turned over a minimal 7,000 documents to the Republican committee during its Fast and Furious investigation. Now, the Department of Justice under Barr turned over 17,000 plus documents. And guess what? He's doing the complete opposite of what he did under the Obama administration. Or is he actually doing the same thing? Think about it. He was hiding the criminal aspects of Fast and Furious, and he's hiding the criminal aspects of the censorship question, about what they've done with spying. So he's really, in a sense, trying to cover up crimes. But it's a little different because he had his own team players where he was able to support them and say executive privilege was fantastic. And now on the other end, he doesn't have his team players and he's saying executive privilege is bad. But he's still doing the same thing. He's covering up crimes. Now, very interestingly, we know that the deep state, the Dems, they've been trying to get Trump's tax returns. Now, remember, there is no law that says that Trump has to hand over his tax returns. And I do believe that Trump has set them up once again. And he's holding the tax returns off to the side right now and doing the opposite of what they want. Because remember, every other president, since Nixon, I do believe, they handed over their tax returns. Remember, Trump, he's not following the deep state protocol. He's doing the opposite of what the deep state wants. And I do believe he's holding his tax returns back, even though there's nothing wrong with them. He just doesn't want to cooperate with what they've done in the past to say, listen, we're not following your rules anymore, even though there are no laws that say I have to hand over my tax returns. And we know that last month, Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin, he rejected a subpoena from the House Ways and Means Committee Chairman Richard Neal. He was asking for Trump's personal and business tax returns for 6 years. So now the Justice Department released a 33-page legal opinion backing Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin's refusal to release the last 6 years of Trump's tax returns. The administration, as well as Trump's lawyers, maintain that Congress does not have a right to review Trump's financial information. Engel echoed arguments made by Trump's lawyers that the request lacks a legitimate legislative purpose and that Congress does not have the right to compel members of the executive branch to hand over confidential information. So what law were they using? Well, they were citing a case that was passed in the 1920s in response to corruption scandal. This was the Teapot Dome scandal. And this involved a cabinet official. And we need to remember something very important. There wasn't a corruption scandal that they proved. There are no crimes. There's nothing with Trump. So this case that they're citing doesn't hold up because they can't find anything on Trump. The Mueller report came out and said no collusion, no obstruction. And what did the Dems find out? Nothing. They can't use this case because there's no crimes. This is why it failed. Now, what's very interesting with Michael Flynn, we know that he got a new attorney, and Trump has already said this is a great attorney for Flynn. But the question is, why? Why is this a great attorney? And why are the other attorneys, along with this Sidney Powell, why is this team really great for Michael Flynn? First of all, his new attorney has requested an extra 60 days to review all the paperwork because they just got the information and they would like to review all this, and it looks like she is getting the 60 days. But General Flynn hired several more attorneys besides Sidney Powell. The team consists of new members, Jesse Benall, Philip John Harvey, and W. William Hodes, along with Sidney Powell, to represent him in the ongoing case. These attorneys have entered notices of appearance in the EDVA case against Flynn's former business partner, where Flynn is expected to testify. Now, this is the important part. This is not a coincidence. This is part of the plan. W. William Hodes is the author of Law and Lawyering, a nationally recognized treatise on legal ethics that is updated annually. He was a member of the Advisory Council to the American Bar Association Ethics 2000 Commission. So Mueller and Weissman are in trouble. They're going to be ripped apart by this individual. He's going to be looking into their practice of how they came about investigating all of this. And guess what this individual is going to say? Well, he's going to cite that they used unethical practices. Wait for it. Boom. He's going to rip their entire case and what they have done completely apart. Now, the mainstream media and the politicians, they're playing right into Trump's hands. They took the bait. They're doing exactly what the Patriots wanted. But Trump and the Patriots had the mainstream media and the politicians do something very interesting to prepare the American people so they understand what is coming. Now, very interestingly, Federal Elections Commission Chair Ellen Weintraub said that it is illegal to accept foreign interference during elections. She said, "Let me make something 100% clear to the American public and anyone running for public office. It is illegal for any person to solicit, accept, or receive anything of value from a foreign national in connection with the U.S. election." Now, do you think she would have a problem with Clinton, Obama paying a foreign country to create fake information and then use it on a president? I believe she's going to have a huge problem with this. Now, think about what the Patriots have done. And I said this right in the beginning when I started this report, that when I was listening to CNN and I was passing by a television, they were going on and on and on, saying that Trump is flip-flopping now about would he accept foreign information, and they're saying that the White House is in trouble. And then I started to realize exactly what they did, and it was brilliant. Remember, the D-class, everything that's coming out is going to show that Obama, Clinton, the gang, they paid a foreign government to create a dossier to be used against a president-elect and a president. Right? What did the Patriots just do? First, number one, they had all the Dems come out and say, this is unbelievable. We're outraged by what Trump said. Yeah, that's great. Now he has that on record. The mainstream media, unbelievable that he would say this. Outraged that he would accept foreign information. But they took this one step further to get the American people prepared and ready for what is coming. Remember, just because the mainstream media is out there saying they're outraged doesn't mean that people understand what is happening. The mainstream media took the bait and they brought on Ellen Weintraub, who explained to the American people what the law was. She told the American people the law, explaining why it is illegal. And these mainstream media pundits were out there pushing this as hard as they possibly can. The Patriots tricked the mainstream media into broadcasting the law to the American people, getting them ready for what is coming. Now they have the politicians, the mainstream media, and the chairman of the FEC telling them why this is wrong. So when the Patriots declass and they show that the administration of Obama, Clinton, Brennan, and the rest paid a foreign government to create fake information and to use it to cover up their spying, boom. Oh, man. The people now understand what they did here and why it's completely illegal. And the mainstream media and the politicians, they just back themselves into a corner because they're outraged by this. Are they going to be outraged when the truth comes out? This is going to be very interesting. This was brilliant. Mark Meadows tweeted out the following. This week, Trump was able to do something no one else could. Get the left to care about foreign intel in our elections. You think Democrats paying for Oppo research from Russians when funneling it to the Department of Justice to open investigation would have done the trick? Guess not. Now remember, it's not just about releasing this information. The American public needs to be on a certain page. They have to understand the story and why it's illegal and why this stuff is coming out. This is what the Patriots have been doing. This has been planned to the smallest detail, leaving nothing unturned to make sure the people of this country and around the world are on the same page. We're all on the same page now. We're all outraged if this would happen. I mean, this was a huge power play. Unbelievable. Now, 23 House Republicans requested declassification of documents directly from Trump as soon as possible, despite the executive office directive to AG Bill Barr. The Republican group seemingly did not trust the Department of Justice and FBI institutional interest. Now, there are 23 Republican senators. There's Flores, Halper, Norman. There's many of them, Gates, and they all signed this letter, and this is to push the agenda forward. Now, very interestingly, Paul Sperry tweeted out the following: breaking, House GOP leadership has soured on Comey replacement Wray. They are now convinced Wray's not part of the FBI cleanup and not cooperating with AG Barr and is in fact part of the cover-up. Hashtag Spygate scandal after burying documents and refusing to make people available for interview. So the question is, why isn't Wray cooperating? Why isn't he giving these documents over to the House? Why isn't he giving it to Congress? Is he really part of the deep state? Is he trying to cover up everything? Well, let's go back a little bit in time, and these are going to be out of order. And these are Q's posts. This is post 2632. This is December 2018. Why would the FBI director take the time to visit all 56 FBI field offices around the entire United States? Q said completed this week. This was back then. Logical thinking. Now we're going to move to post 1318. Who must approve the firing dismissal of Department of Justice officials? This is when Sessions was the Attorney General, so it would be Sessions. Who is the FBI director? Wray. Who must approve the firing dismissal of FBI agents? Wray. If Sessions and Wray are DC swamp, deep state, why are they cleaning their respective houses? Use logic. Post 1122. Q says, and this is back in April 2018, trust Sessions, trust Wray, trust Kansas, trust Horowitz, trust Huber. So if Wray hands over these documents to Congress, let's say to Devin Nunes, do you believe these would be kept confidential? Well, yes, I do believe that Devin Nunes would keep them completely confidential. Well, who wouldn't? Well, Adam Schiff wouldn't. Who's the chair of the House Intel Committee? Adam Schiff. Devin Nunes would have to give, or Adam Schiff would receive the same information. What do you think Adam Schiff would do with it? He would leak it to the mainstream media. This is why, most likely, Wray is not handing anything over. Now, if Devin Nunes was the chair, I don't think there'd be a problem. But they know that Adam Schiff, because Trump has tweeted out many, many times, little leaker Adam Schiff. Q has been telling us about Adam Schiff. He has a leaking problem. Don Jr. even tweeted out about this. They don't want to hand this information over because they know it's going to be leaked out because they're not in full control in this area. And this is why they're holding it back. Now, down at the border, we know that Trump has been working out a deal with the Mexican president to stop the migrants from coming into the United States. And we know that Mexico, they have different deep state factions, just like the United States. And now we're starting to hear from them. Mexican Economy Minister Graciela Marquez, she is threatening retaliation against Trump's tariffs. And we need to remember that in each country there is a deep state, and they will fight against Trump. They work together. But we know that if they decide to retaliate against the United States, this is not going to end well with Mexico. If they go down this route, what will happen? Trump will implement the 20% tariffs on Mexico. Remember, Mexico will then have corporations leave just like they're leaving China. He has the upper hand. And these individuals are trying to stop Trump in any way possible. It's not going to work. Remember, the letter that he was holding up essentially said the following: keep your word, or in 45 days, things will get ugly. And 40 days from then, the 20% rate tariffs will begin. Choose wisely. And I do believe the president knows this. The deep state doesn't care, because they're going to push their agenda even if they destroy the people, the country. They don't care. And we'll have to see how this plays out. But I do believe the Mexican president is going to do the right thing. Now, we know there's been a lot of censorship, a lot of channels, a lot of Twitter accounts, Facebook accounts, they've been taken down. And for no reason, because the only reason that the deep state actually has is to silence individuals. This is their last effort to try to keep their narrative. And I noticed the mainstream media, they're continually coming out with articles saying why big tech is good for the country. Keeping these big companies together is a good thing, and there might be unintended consequences if they're broken up. This is coming out of CNBC, where the article says Google CEO says regulating tech would have unintended consequences. And this is coming from Google CEO Sundar, says he's worried about the unintended consequences of tech regulation. Well, are there really unintended consequences? Yes. For a CIA intelligence-run corporation, the unintended consequences are on their apparatus. But for the everyday person, it's actually going to make things better for them. Remember going way back, Ma Bell? This is when the phone company had a monopoly on everything. And if you remember, those people who are old enough, remember that the phones really didn't change that much. The technology really didn't change that much. And prices were set, everything was set, and they controlled pretty much everything. When the company was broken up into AT&T, Verizon, and the rest, I mean, there were different names back then. There was like North Bell, South Bell, West Bell, and all those other names they created at the time. And then they broke off and changed their names once again. What happened? We had better technology, competitive pricing. Pricing actually went down. The phones completely changed. They got better and better. They look completely different from the old Bell-style phones. And it made it better for people. Just look at the mobile industry. Remember when you had to pay for the first 20, you got 20 minutes free first, and then you had to pay for every minute after that? And back then there was no texting or anything like that. And then when texting came into play, you had to pay for every character. Well, competition made it so that you didn't have to pay for every character anymore. Now, most likely, many of the plans, it's free texting, free data, and free calls. There's no limit. This is what competition does. And the prices continually come down and down and down. Well, if we break up these large companies, these big tech companies, what do you think is going to happen? Well, first of all, it's going to break up the intelligence apparatus. What will they lose? They won't be able to censor channels. The big tech companies, they won't be able to control the narrative. Other tech companies might say, yeah, we're fine with this free speech. And maybe that company would be more popular than another one that was broken off. And this would benefit the people. Let's go back to post 1841. Q says the following: fake news consolidation propaganda arm of the Tea Party. Define antitrust. The Sherman Act outlaws every contract, combination, or conspiracy in restraint of trade, and any monopolization, attempted monopolization, or conspiracy or combination to monopolize. Then Q gave us a link to the FTC Gov. The FTC's competition mission is to enforce the rules of the competitive marketplace, the antitrust laws. These laws promote vigorous competition and protect consumers from anti-competitive mergers and business practices. Reconcile. Then Q says, plus Google, plus Facebook, plus Twitter. Change we can believe in. Let's go to post 2171. Actions of Twitter, Facebook, Google, YouTube, Reddit, etc. Aggression, projection, suppression, fascism, censorship, narrative dogma, bombs away. Q. Q's told us that this was coming, and here we are today. Now, it looks like the Pentagon, the Department of Defense, released a video showing an Iranian Navy ship removing an unexploded mine from a Japanese boat. Now, what's very interesting about this, it's all black and white and fuzzy and blurry. You can't really make it out, and you really don't know what's going on. We've seen this before from the deep state. And again, we have to remember what the mission is here. The mission is to keep the mainstream media, the deep state, very busy, thinking that, okay, we've got this. We're going to be going to war. Okay, let's see if he takes the bait. And Trump has Pompeo and Bolton in these positions for a very specific reason. But what's very interesting is that the crew of the ship, they're reporting a completely different story. They're saying that we saw a flying object headed towards our ship. This was not a time bomb. This was a flying object that hit our ship, most likely maybe a missile. But the mainstream media right now, they're going along with this video, going along like they always do with the information that comes out of the government, and they're not investigating any of this. They're saying, yes, it's Iran. Now, Trump and team, they want this to happen. Joe M. tweets out the following: the deep state are of no nationality. Cells operating from black sites are behind these hostile acts, but Trump's admin is forced to publicly assign blame to the hijacked host nation, in this case, Iran. This is to push us into war, except now we are awake and will not be baited. And that's exactly what is happening right now. He's doing the same thing that happened in Syria and North Korea. Let the deep state, let the mainstream push their agenda. In the meantime, he's working behind the scenes to implement a peace deal with Iran. Remember, there's black sites, deep state in each one of these countries. Now, I want to leave you with post 1746. This was back July 28th, 2018, because we're getting very, very close and down to the wire when everything is about to come out. We understand that Trump and the Patriots, they've been preparing the American public and the world for what is coming. They're getting people on the same page. This is what this post says. No matter what happens, the media will not push the truth. Mainstream media implicated in highest level treason event in U.S. modern day history. Witnessing a highest level treason event unfold in U.S. worldwide modern day history. Have you ever witnessed so many Congress, Senate seats vacate in a short period of time? Have you ever witnessed the Department of Justice, FBI, what is known, fire release vacate events in a short period of time? Have you ever witnessed a vacating party, all positions, challenge, fight, push for the removal of the entering duly elected POTUS? Have you ever witnessed a former U.S. president travel the world ahead behind of the current, attempting to undo, threaten, hide, cover up previous, current, illegal, corrupt, evil events? Have you ever witnessed 40 to 50,000 sealed indictments, not all federal criminal? Have you ever witnessed so many pedochild exposed people going down? Have you ever witnessed a similar like group rise up, mimics, and Germany, can't say the word, with similar like logo, push, etc.? Have you ever witnessed political foundations, hundreds of millions of dollars from specific terrorists, sponsor orgs, etc., only to immediately cease once out of power, all during the same period of time? Nothing is happening. Not fast enough. Do you not understand, comprehend what we are currently dealing with? People are dying. We are under threat of kill every second of the day. Those who you trust the most are the most evil. This is not a game. Humanity is at stake. And remember, a couple posts back, Q told us that those people that are going to awaken from their sleep, remember, they're going to be angry. But I think the Patriots, what they're doing right now is they're trying to bring everyone up to speed, so they're not as angry. Yes, there are going to be many, many people that are going to be angry. People are going to question everything. But once the population, the world, is brought out of their deep sleep, people are going to understand what has happened here. They're going to understand the laws, why it was illegal, why it was treasonous. And this is what the Patriots have been preparing everyone for. It's coming. And we're getting very, very close. And we all need to be prepared for this, to help others, to explain what is happening. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.